Hi everybody. Today's lesson is on factors that affect photosynthesis. The first factor we're going to talk about is water. We already know that plants need water for photosynthesis. Water is an important part of the light reaction. The first thing that happens to that water molecule when it enters the chloroplast is it gets blasted apart by the energy that's in those light photons. Now, there's lots of parts of the water molecule that the plant actually needs. So when that water molecule gets split apart, it uses the hydrogen ions to help generate ATP. It uses the electrons to help generate NADPH. Remember, the oxygen part of the water molecule is not very useful for the plant, so that's released in the atmosphere as a waste product, but it's a very useful waste product because it's the oxygen that we breathe. Now, you can always look at a plant and tell when it's lacking water because that plant will start to wilt due to a lack of turgor pressure. Remember that turgor pressure is that internal pressure created by the vacuole filling up with water, expanding and pressing against the inside of the cell wall. Right? That's that pressure that plants need to stay upright and look healthy. When plants are lacking water and they start to wilt, it also means that they're not photosynthesizing. Right? Because at that point, it's more important for the plant to start conserving water, so it starts to close its stomata, those small openings on the underside of the leaf, right? Which means that the plant can't get CO2 that it needs to carry out photosynthesis, but it also means that you're not going to lose any more water through evaporation or transpiration, right? And again, at this point, the plant has determined that it's more important to conserve water than try to photosynthesize and make food. Now, we have one more question at the bottom here that says, can too much water harm a plant? The answer to that is obviously yes, and we see some plants damaged by flooding over here. It has nothing to do with photosynthesis, though. Remember that the plant roots need oxygen, right, to do the process of respiration, the same process that we do. And when the plants are submerged in water like this, they can't get the oxygen they need, and therefore the plant doesn't get the energy or the ATP it needs to carry out life. And the second factor I want to talk about that affects the rate of photosynthesis is temperature. Right? Remember that the chemical reactions that control photosynthesis are all controlled by enzymes. Right? And when a temperature is extremely cold, the enzymes still work, but they always work in like slow motion. Right? So that's why like a lot of plants decide to go dormant and lose all their leaves in the winter. Right? These trees that we see up here, they keep their leaves all winter, but they actually just have like a very, very slow rate of photosynthesis going on through the process of winter due to the low temperatures. So, let's say if it's extremely hot, so maybe like in a desert or something like that, right? You think that plants should be able to photosynthesize, right, extremely quickly, right? However, like our greenhouse at school can get up to 140 degrees in the summer, right? That doesn't mean the plants are photosynthesizing super fast in that greenhouse, okay? It's actually bad. We try very, very hard to cool that greenhouse down because when it gets too hot, the enzymes that control photosynthesis actually start to break down on there, or denature is the proper term for it. And it's literally like being cooked, so the plants can't photosynthesize when it's too hot either. The final factor that affects photosynthesis is light. Remember, light intensity determines the rate of photosynthesis. Right? It makes sense that the more intense the light, the faster the rate of photosynthesis. But remember that plants only like certain types of light or certain colors of light. So if you have a choice between an extremely bright green light and a relatively dim blue light, your better choice for photosynthesis is probably your relatively dim blue light. Right? Remember that green light is mostly reflected by chlorophyll and cannot affect the rate of photosynthesis. Alright guys, that's it for today's lesson. Thank you.